And welcome to another classic guitar video. Tonight's guitar is a Washburn WG-587 Strat 7-string. I just bought it from somebody. Again, I buy a lot of guitars from people who buy a guitar new, literally play on it for 10 minutes, a half an hour, and decide they don't like it. They stow it away in their closet or under their bed. It goes past time to return it to the music store or guitar center or wherever they bought it, and thus they sell it. I buy them. So I bought this one really cheap. I won't say how cheap, but very cheap, with a new case, a soft case, gig bag, if you will. It's really pretty color, kind of a silvery. Well, it is silver. Glitter. Well, not glitter, but sparkle. Um, Metallic, actually. Sorry about that. So it's a neat piece. It doesn't need a whole lot of work. He said he couldn't really tune it very well, so it's probably just a minor intonation issue. So I'll put a regular setup on it and do my thing to it and probably just polish it. And maybe probably polish the frets on the fretboard too. And yeah, so let's just get right started with it. And voila, here it is. She's pretty.
Ought to be pretty. It's new. So here it is. It's got two humbuckers on it. Two hum schmuckers. Oh, I got my new chair in here too, guys. So, well, not new. One of the old house chairs with arms. If you remember last, I had mentioned to you guys that I just couldn't sit in that little tiny chair that I had anymore. It was destroying my back after a couple of hours. So I just couldn't do it anymore with that chair. So I retired it, if you will. So here it is. It's a nice piece. Yeah, 7-string. Unfortunately, he pulled all the protective plastics off the back of the tuners, the neck plate, and the electronics plate. So unfortunately, he did that. Kind of wished he had pulled them off. He said he pulled them off about 2 days before I purchased the guitar. I was like, no, because that's kind of a neat, thing to have. When selling a guitar, you can basically sell it as new, or as I like to put it, new, but only used once or only used to set up, which is true. There's no lie in that. So, yeah, it's a nice piece. The guy put new strings on it. Now, why he put new strings on it, no, I take it back. I know why he put new strings on it. He didn't like the factory strings that are on it. So he bought some Ernie Ball, super slinky 7 strings on it. And amazingly enough, he put the strings on pretty right. Could use 1 or 2 more wraps on one of the posts. Well, I take it back. Two of them need to be rewound. The winds are really loose. 3 of them need to be wound. Okay, I take it back. But all in all, he did a pretty decent job in doing that. So, yeah. So here we go. Oh, as I mentioned before, I've been forgetting to take my pre-pictures on some guitars. So I'll go grab my camera real quick and take a few quick snapshots. And again, I do that just to prove to people that I actually worked on the guitar or had the guitar apart. You know how some trolls and haters can be. They like to say, well, you didn't actually work on that guitar, or you didn't actually this, or you didn't actually that. And then I bust out the pictures and the video and say, well, yes, I did, and here's the proof. So I'm going to go grab my camera real quick.
Only that if I were you, I'd stop back now
About a mile, man. About, yeah. Okay, so, yeah, been doing okay lately. Well, let me take my pictures first. Whoops, I need to get back, actually. Reopen my door here so I can
but where there should be cities,
take my
there are only
picture.
great rents in the surface.
Okay.
It's though some great force just scooped all the machine elements off the face of the planet.
It is identical to what happened to the outposts along the neutral zone.
Got it.
Okay, there's the first picture.
What is the source of the probe? The ship. It is on an intercept course. On screen.
Okay, so, yeah, just kind of take my pictures like I usually do.
Going to yellow alert.
And
Shields down. We don't want to appear provocative. Aye, sir.
And once I get the strings off, or loose, I'm not going to take them completely off, I'll just take them loose so I can do the frets and fretboard. So that'll be good, if you will. If you will.
There is no indication of life.
Lieutenant War, what is the alert status?
Okay, what am I missing?
The weapons of any
Am I missing anything? If you hear some noise outside, that's okay, it's not me. My brother's outside working on his awesome go-kart. So, yeah. So, test play it first real quick like, just to see if there's any problems, issues, or glitches. And the jack is tight. Well, the jack is loose, actually. I just felt it as I put the string in, as the cable in, rather. Ooh, it's out of tune. I can already tell. Without playing a chord on it, it's already out of tune. But that's okay. Oh dear, it's got a neck buzz, a fret buzz. I think it just needs to be tuned up a little bit. See if that buzz. Sometimes a fret buzz or a neck buzz will go away if you put it in tune because the strings are so loose and they vibrate too much. So we'll see what that does. It's way out of tune. Switch is good. One of the tone knob, the tone pot's loose, and they scratch a little bit. But this isn't a high-end guitar, so you can't expect $1,000 perfection out of it. Still got a little buzz, not too bad though. plays with a couple of small issues, nothing entirely major. I think probably the action is set probably a little too low. That's why the only getting the buzz on B string here, A string rather. So not a major flaming deal. Okay. I was wrong on the pot being loose. Or maybe what's loose about it? Well, okay, the shaft is a little loose. Again, not a high-end guitar. These things were about just under $500 new. I think they were like $479, something thereabouts. I'm going to do my full thing to it, and I'm probably going to ask, I don't think I'll have a problem getting 4 for this. I mean, for God's sakes, it's new. The guy's hands were a little dirty when he played it, but that's okay. I can tell that because the fretboard's kind of dirty. Dirty bird. So I'm just gonna do my thing to it. And I'll keep checking the chat back and forth as soon as... Whoops, I need to pause my own stream. I keep telling people I've been streaming since 2006, and people have a habit of streaming watching their own stream or having their own stream playing, like in a browser or something, while streaming. You don't want to do that because that creates double... Excuse me. That creates double bandwidth and whatnot. So I was helping somebody on YouTube with that the other day, in fact, because they were getting feedback and I could not understand why they were getting feedback. Where's the feedback coming from? Pause your own stream. Not the streaming stream. Sometimes people don't understand that. So yeah, pause. Not your streaming application or where you're streaming from, but if you have a browser open with your own stream, pause it. Don't just mute it. Muting does nothing. Muting just mutes the audio. You want to pause it. So anyway. So yeah, this pot is not the best condition. Well, I mean, it's in good condition. It's new. I just meant probably quality. I mean, you can't compare this pot to, say, one out of a Fender American Strat that's $2,800 or something. That's what I mean. More times than not, you just tighten them up a little bit, like I do. Again, you want to go real slow on these because these are just made out of you know, a pot metal. You go too far. Typically, these nuts only have about 2.5 or so threads on them. I wish I had a pallet of these nuts in different sizes, but I don't. Excuse me. Yeah, that's a little better. If that doesn't work, yeah, see when I turn it, it kind of squeaks. There's actually simple fixes for this. What you can do is take and put your thing back on, and if you go like this, very short, you don't want to go from stop to stop. You want to go short of that. So you just want to go like this, and that'll actually clean up the contacts inside. Again, you don't want to go from stop to stop. You would just want to go just short of that. And you would be surprised what that does. That feels better. This one doesn't squeal anymore. Yeah, good. And I'll come back again and check that again, because sometimes that'll that aspect will change. Okay, next is the tuners. I gotta remember I have to get up from this chair different because it's got arms, and I keep bumping my hip up against the arm, and it hurts me hip. So I just have to remember it's there now. I've been sitting in that chair, using that chair for a couple of years now. I bought a table for this room. It's actually only about 2/3 of the size of this table, and found that table, which came with those chairs, to be much too small. So I bought this table off a guy off of Craigslist, and he delivered it to me even for $50. And I just kept that little tiny chair there for some reason. Why, I don't know. I just did. Because, I don't know, I just did. So that one should be much better. And if that one doesn't work, I'll get another chair. I'll get a fully padded chair instead of a wooden chair. Like, you know, get like an office type chair. Ooh. Yeah. Some of these will tighten more than others. But all in all, generally I like these pretty tight. Not so tight it hurts your hands to move the tuning peg, but tight enough where it kind of acts as a locking tuner. And it'll keep the guitar in tune a lot easier. Some of them were just hand loose. So that's probably part of the reason the guy said he was having tuning issues with it. So with that said, I will detune it and take the strings off or away. And yeah, this is kind of an uncommon guitar. I looked on Craigslist, didn't find any. I looked on eBay, didn't find any. You know, 7-string guitars in general are, not that they're not popular, it's just that there's not a lot of call for them. I talked to a lot of professional guitar players other than myself about 7-string and even 8-string and even 9-string guitars. And a lot of them don't like them because, you know, the more strings you get, the wider neck you have to get. This one has a pretty thin neck. They typically get fatter on the necks, but this one is amazingly thin. It's a very thin line neck. So yeah, anyway, what was I saying about the neck thinness? Oh, I was saying the rarity of this guitar. Not that this is a rare guitar, but typically you can get 7 strings in more popular of brands, or more well-known brands like Ibanez or Jackson. You can walk into a Sam Ash or a Guitar Center and just about find multiples of Ibanez and or Jackson 7-string guitars on the rack. Whereas you won't find a Washburn. Washburn's still a popular maker of guitar, but I don't know, they're just not as prevalent for whatever reason. Is what it is, and that's what it is, kind of thing. but these are fairly uncommon. Washburn didn't make as many as these compared to, again, an Ibanez or a Jackson 7-string. So everything's wider. The neck's wider. You have to have extra poles on the pickups and wider, wider everything, and one more of everything else. So generally, each guitar manufacturer will manufacture one 7-string model and see if it picks up by the public. If the public it's popular with the public and they buy them. If they don't, they'll usually just stick with that one model, make a few of them, and that's not coming off very easy. And that'll be it, because there's no sense in making tens of thousands of these if you're only going to sell a few hundred per guitar store per month or 2 months or 3 months. It just doesn't make much sense to do that. I always take note which side the screws are on, either this way or this way. Sometimes it makes a difference if the pickup is in the way or whatever, and the intonation setting. And sometimes the saddles are bigger. This one, the saddle rests are virtually the same size. So, but it's a nice guitar. I like it. It's, again, not high end by any stretch of the imagination, but it is pretty cool. It's not cooperating. Boy, why is this? What string or strings are keeping this? I think it's number 2 here. That's a little easier. Sometimes these come off relatively easy for me, and I don't want to, you don't want to just flip it off. You'll scratch the mohickeys. And I don't want to scratch a basically brand new guitar I played once. It kind of sucks he didn't keep the original strings, because I mean they were brand new, so why throw away a set of brand new strings, you know what I mean? But yeah, not that big of a deal. I'll live without him. You know? Oh, my back actually hurts again today. Working on my remote control car track in my back lot. I put in about 2.5, 3 hours today weeding it. Wasn't hot today, but I did about 4 days worth of work in less than 3 hours, so I was kind of getting some aggravation out on something, and instead of carry on, I got my aggression out on my back lot, my back field. You know, did that instead. Interesting. This had some like grease in the screw holes. Why, I don't know. You really don't need to grease those. It's not a moving part. But that's probably Washburn did from the factory. So I'm just sitting here watching Star Trek as per usual. Next Generation's on right now. Okay, so I'm going to take a picture, before picture of the frets and fretboard. as I usually do. Ooh, I said I was gonna turn the light off so it doesn't use more battery power. So here we go, before picture. I always take it at the 12th fret, just because to make it the same every time. Yeah, it's fairly dirty. I mean, it shouldn't be all that dirty because it's new. But, you know, some people play a guitar with dirty hands and dirty fingers. And then a week later, they ask themselves, why is my brand new guitar so dirty already? Well, wash your hands before you play. You know? A little bit of dust or something right there. So I'm gonna... Oh, I need to tighten up the screws, the nuts on the tuners. It's a bored baby.
Almost immediately after birth, they begin artificial implants.
So I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing here.
Technology to link artificial intelligence directly into the humanoid brain.
Okay. That will just have to do. It's okay. So yeah, tighten these up, as I always do, very carefully. So as one, not to scratch or damage the nut or the headstock. And strip anything out also. I forgot to tighten the back of the tuners. There's little screws, set screws back there. Dang it! Oh well, I'll do that after, before I do my setup on it. I'm going to do just an ever so slight adjustment on the truss rod. Ever so slight. Ever so slight. Again, this is a WG-587. Not high end, but still pretty decent for a 7-string. This also gives me a chance to check the nut, make sure it's not wobbly or loose. And a chance to polish the truss rod cover. Have a look and see what kind of truss rod nut or bolt or screw. It's Allen.
Have you ever thought of getting a walk-in tub for you or someone you love? Take a look at walk-in tub.
For a limited time, when you purchase a Safe Step,
I just take my handy dandy tool and I put it in there.
With Safe Step,
And I just check this. I don't make any adjustments right away. I check first to make sure how tight or loose it is.
and the convenient touchpad
It's pretty tight.
control at your fingertips.
each tub comes standard with a dual
You can hear that in there. It's pretty tight.
water jets can help increase
I'm just going to give it an ever so slight
boost energy and improve sleep. While the
turn. You know, not even a tenth of a turn hardly. You saw how much I made. That's it. That's it. That's all it requires.
For more information and a free application
Just a check. Just a check and a slight tighten. That in and of itself might make that fret budge go away. We'll see. We'll see. So, I gotta move my camera before I friggin' step on it. Put it somewhere. I don't know where. Just there. It's dusty, but I'll just put it there anyway. Forgot to dust my keyboard when I cleaned in here. Cleaned and dusted in here last week. Whoops. I dropped you guys, sorry. I dropped you guys. I am ever so sorry. I gotta finish setting up my other cameras. I really do. I really and truly do. Got other cameras in here, another streaming computer. I'm so busy. So busy. Okay. I need to readjust the camera. Okay, there we go. Oh, a little more. There we go. Okay. So, not much else going on. Star Wars week went pretty well. May the 4th, 5th, and 6th. That went very well. Did a lot of Star Wars toys. So now I'll just kind of wait for Star Trek Day on September 8th. And do a bunch of Star Trek toys for you guys on my Klasic Collectibles channel. Okay, so okay, here we go. Whoa! And of course I got it all over the place. God dang it. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, mercy. Got it all over my shorts. I accidentally triggered that. It's not too bad. Actually, most of it hit the polish bottle. Yeah, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Some of it I'll just pick up with my hand like this and just rub on the guitar. Oh lordy. Okay. Always something. Okay, good enough. Alright. Well, that's not gonna work. Jesus. It's already dead. Oh man, come on now. That ain't cool. Well, if I plug it in for a few minutes and then do a little more, like I did the last time, if you guys remember. Oh my goodness. Mercy.
It'd be possible to establish a relationship, but for now, for right now,
Always something, I'll tell you that.
your existence.
Not bad, I'll live.
They will become it.
You can be honest.
Wait about 2-3 minutes and then do a little more. Plug it back in, wait a few minutes, do a little more. In the meantime, I'll be right back. Dang it, that sucks.
How so?
Perhaps what we most needed was a kick in our complacency to prepare us for what lies ahead.
Okay. Sorry. Oh, I gotta turn my lightsaber off, I'm sorry. Oh, what is it doing? It's asking me for a silly update. Don't want to update in the middle of my stream. Best believe that. Okay, sorry. Okay, so anyway, okay. Try it again. This time it. I just can't win tonight. I'm kind of butterfingers right now. Just have to do it a little at a time and go kind of semi-fast. Well, yeah. I'm gonna have to do something about this battery. And this here screwdriver drill. I didn't pay much for that drill. It was on sale about 2 years ago. I guess 3 years ago now. No, 2 years ago. 2 summers ago. For $24.76, something of that sort. Just under $25. So if I have to trash, sometimes, you know, they build these, they make these tools and they only expect people are going to use them for about a year, year and a half, 2 years, maybe 2.5, and then they're just going to throw the whole thing out and get a new one because they're not going to continue to make batteries for a discontinued drill. Now, whether that drill is discontinued or not, I don't know. I'm assuming it is because it's only a $24 drill. It's still a good one. It's a Black & Decker, but you know, I didn't need a $300 drill to do this, so you know, I did not need a very expensive drill to do this. So, at any rate, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to have a piece of candy and maybe some cookies while that charges up a little more. I guess I'll take this time to check some of my other friends out, such as Angry Veteran, Tomahawk Sean. Truthfully, Trisha doesn't stream on YouTube anymore, at least so far. She may come back. She might not come back. Or if she does, it'll probably be a different venue. A lot of people have left YouTube here the past few months. Again, such as Truthfully Trisha. Shoot the Shit, Snacker Sized. Too much drama. Too many haters. I seldomly get haters or trolls while doing my streams here. After all, I'm just working on guitars. What's to troll? Although, I've had a few come in and say, well, you're not doing that right, or that's wrong, or that's bad, or that's indifferent that you're doing. You shouldn't do that. It's like, okay. I'm all open ears. Tell me. They love to criticize, but not give, options, or say, well, here's the better way you can do this, that, or the other. They just say, well, you're not doing this right, and then that's it. It's like, well, okay. I've done different things on different guitars, different ways, and I use the best, quickest, most efficient, least destructive way. And that's what I do. No more, no less. Like with fretwork here, using a drill, an electric drill, and a cloth, cotton type pad, and just do what you just saw. Oh no, you're doing that wrong. You should tape up each fret, or you should tape the fretboard and do this and do that, and use a fret eraser, or use something else. And it's like, okay, but then what are you gonna do for the fretboard? Oh, you're gonna use a conditioner. Well, then you're just gonna get wet or mess up your fretwork you just did. By me doing it this way, I'm doing them both at the same time. And I've had so many compliments back from people saying that this is the slickest, cleanest looking fretboard and frets they have ever played. I've had many people tell me that. The guy finally came and picked up his fenders that I worked on a couple of videos ago, and he was just ecstatically dumbfounded about how good the frets and the fretboard came out. Greased lightning is the term he used. Well, you know. In fact, let me check the drill again, see if we got enough charge on it to go a little further now. I think that'll probably be good enough, actually. I mean, I could do it another once or twice, but again, it's not a high-end guitar. This will be good enough. Yeah. So, I mean, you can see how dirty it was for a new guitar. You could do this to a brand new guitar literally out of the box. You could unbox it, untape it, take it out of the box, loosen the strings up and do this, and this will still happen because they don't come factory clean from the factory. I mean, they might look clean, but you got a lot of workers, handling the guitar with dirty or semi-dirty hands. You know. So a guy brought me a BC Rich Widow bass. He wanted me to put a setup on it. I didn't do the video on it because it was kind of impromptu, and he was in kind of a rush, and he just heard about me through a friend of a friend, and just knocked on my door and said, "Hey man, I got about an hour and a half. I'm going to a gig. Can you do this bass real quick?" He had just bought it, just unboxed it less than an hour before, and the frets were already kind of a little bit tarnished, and you know, he could do a couple bends on it and you can hear the strings scrape, and you know, it wasn't good. So I said, "Yeah, I can do that." And I did this to it, and boy, when I was done, he was flabbergasted about how lightning fast the fretboard was. Yeah, see, this is a clean rack, and look at that. That's from that guitar just now. Look, here's clean side, relatively clean anyway. See? And that's with, what did I run it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ran it about 6 times back and forth. Plus, doing this, if you look at the wood grain after, you can really see the wood grain in the fretboard now. It's really beautiful. Now, yeah, you could get that with one of these conditioners you can buy in a little tiny spray bottle at Guitar Center or something. But all that does is just put something on the surface. It really doesn't do any cleaning per se of the fretboard. Really doesn't. Plus, it gets all in the strings, and I've heard actually people tell me, you know, if you get that stuff on the wound strings, it'll actually dull in the sound of the wound strings, and it's just like, eh. The way I do it, that won't happen ever, guaranteed. Guaranteed. But yeah, I just bought this guitar the other day. The guy just kind of, you know, didn't like it too much. He thought the neck was too wide. So, well, you know, that's what happens when you put an extra string on it. You have to kind of widen the neck another 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, you know. Kind of goes without saying. Again, a lot of people, a lot of guitarists that have been playing guitar 10, 15, 20, 30 years pick up a 7-string and just they can't do it. They can't get into it. And all a 7-string is just, it adds another lower bass string. That's all it does in reality. Pretty much the same with an 8-string and some of these new 9-string guitars. You pick them up and they just, you know, they start, all they do, you can't really put a higher end string on it, because once you get to 9 or 10 on the gauge size, you start putting an 8 or a 7 or a 6 on there, you're going to break strings, inevitably, very frequently. So they just put lower bass strings on them, so that way you kind of have a bass guitar and electric guitar, regular guitar, if you will, on some of these 8 and 9 strings. Even Ibanez has already come out or is going to come out with a 10-string. And there are 10-string guitars out there that are old. That BC Rich Bitch I did a while back is a 10-string, if you guys remember. It doesn't have lower bass strings, it just has unison strings. But that's not what some of these more modern 7-string, 8-string, 9-string guitars are about. They are about putting lower single bass strings on them. That's what they are about. And personally, I like them. I think they're cool. You know, I guys remember I did that BC Rich NJ Series Warlock 7-string that was I'm keeping. That's one of my keepers. I love that guitar. That thing is awesome. You don't see them available for sale too often. They are out there, but you don't see them as prevalent as a 6-string. So this is going to come out pretty nice. So, yeah, refold this. Oh, I gotta be careful of my back because my back is killing me. Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of factory imperfections on this fretboard. You can see where they scraped the file. That's not for me doing that just now. Those are actual file marks. I can tell by looking at them. But it's a lot better than it was 10-15 minutes ago. I'll tell you that much right now. In fact, I'll take my after picture right now, as I always do, pretty much immediately after finishing.
Though she couldn't very well admit it while you were pointing your taser at her. I'm glad to see you're not holding one now.
Do I need one?
Oh, not at all. You seem skeptical.
Okay, let's look at before.
I realize
Oh yeah, you definitely see after. Nice.
You must understand that we were only trying to defend ourselves.
Oh yeah.
We felt threatened by your incursions into the
Yeah,
capital.
guitars aren't exactly playable,
Commander,
if you will,
you risked your life.
right out of the box.
Peace and friendship. You chose to accept your
And people kind of forget about that aspect of guitars, that they're not playable right out of the box. A lot of people think, well, they pull a guitar out of the box after bringing it home from Guitar Center or wherever, and they strum it and go, huh. Well, you do have to tune it. At the very least, you have to tune it. At the very least. Very, very least. That's kind of a no-brainer. They are frequently out of intonation. They put a factory intonation setting on there, but they are definitely not fine-tune intonated like I do to my guitars.
Luckily for all your hard-to-wash fabrics, there's Febreze Fabric Refresher. Febreze doesn't just mask, it eliminates odors you
But,
don't know.
at any rate, this will be
Febreze Unstoppables for fabric.
nice for somebody. Somebody will be very happy to get this.
Maybe just one more time. Indulge in irresistible freshness.
Very happy.
Febreze Unstoppables. Breathe happy. Painting and staining have a big problem. They take too long. Now there's a better solution.
This is the Wagner Flexio. It gives you the power to spray paint
Okay.
like this deck. Many surfaces.
So yeah, that fretboard's pretty. It's got a nice pretty grain on the wood. It has a couple of really nice, one light and one dark, kind of swerving snake striation in the grain. It's very pretty. I don't know if you guys can see that too well. It's very pretty. Yeah, you can see the striations, light and the dark. Very pretty. Somebody will be happy to get this guitar. Very happy. At the $400 I'm going to put on it. Being a Washburn, Washburn is a very good brand. USA design. WG series, it says. USA design. WG series, yeah. So, yeah.
The reason you should try the Flexion spray is because it works.
It's quite lovely. It's quite a lovely guitar. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So I will start on the guitar.
I was wondering if an electric toothbrush really cleans better than a manual, and my hygienist says it does, but they're not all the same. Who knew? I don't know.
So it is metallic silver.
With a round brush head.
Pretty cool. I don't have to do a whole lot of polishing to this, just kind of put a coat on it, if you will. And that's kind of it, you know. That's about all I gotta do.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be back. Business keeping you busy? Tailoring business? Or the spy business?
Joking, of course.
Of course. I've missed you. I've been genuinely concerned for your safety. The lunch hasn't been the same without you. It's very kind of you to say so, Karen.
Oh yeah, nice. I've got quite a few guitars. Not quite a few. I got a few deals on some good guitars recently. Tomorrow night was probably going to be a Jackson Kelly that I got from a friend of mine that I've been buying guitars off of for several years. Really nice guy, Kevin. Came with a case and everything. It's got some stickers on it that somebody put that I can get off, and I'll peel those off, do my thing to it. And it's not a guitar I'll make a whole lot of money off of. I might make 30 or 40 bucks off of it, maybe. But it gives me a chance to see my good friend Kevin. And I hadn't seen him since, December was the last time he was here. He had that neck, you know, that neck that I worked on. It was just the neck that I put the nut on. And he actually brought me the guitar body and all the parts and electronics to assemble the guitar. He was going to do it himself, but he just decided for whatever reason to have me do it, which I'm very happy to do for him. So yeah, and it's kind of an eggshell pink, if you will. It's sitting over here in a corner. So it's not a high-end guitar or anything. It's just kind of a player's guitar. All in all, maybe it's a $150 guitar when I get done with it, putting it back together and everything. Maybe. So, you know, not every guitar has to be ultra high-end, ultra expensive, ultra. You know. Yeah. So put that back together for him. That'll be a project for the next coming week. What else did I get from him? I got a 1980s Washburn semi-hollow body guitar from him. I've been wanting for a while. Real nice. I forget the model number right now. The model number escapes me. But it's a nice one. That might be a keeper. I don't know yet. Pretty cool. It's got an aftermarket fine tuner tailpiece in it. He brought me the pick guard today and the extra paint for his other guitar that I'm working on. So nice piece. Yeah, you know. Nice piece, good piece. Pretty cool guitar. I may end up keeping that. That might be a keeper. I don't know yet. Is that all he brought me? I think that's all he brought me. Yeah, that's all he brought me. He's got another guitar he's going to bring me. It's a, oh, what is it? Oh, it's a Reverend. I don't know what model number, but it's a Reverend, he said. So that'll be cool, because you know I love my Reverends. Guitar, that is. I have a lot of Reverends right now. I have almost every model they ever made. A lot. Beautiful guitars, I love them. Made in USA. Basically a custom shop guitar, but affordable. You know, they're not thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars new. They're still affordable for the average everyday Joe or Jane. Nice piece. So look forward to getting pictures from him of that. And yeah, I still have that 74, I think it is, Ibanez Les Paul I gotta do. I have that 80s SG. It's not a Gibson SG, it's just a it's an Epiphone Les Paul SG. So I have some guitars backed up that I need to get to for sure. I haven't been feeling very well with my back and stuff these days because of the weather, so that's why I haven't been doing a whole lot of guitars recently, streaming recently and whatnot. So there's that side polished up. So he'll bring me that guitar, or he's going to email me the pictures of that Reverend, and we'll go from there on that one. And yeah, I've sold some pieces too, of course. I sold a couple Ibanez Art Cores. I've sold a few Epiphones. I sold I think that's it. I've had a lot of flakes. People I give the address and directions to, and they want to come, and then they never show up. And then I had this guy that wanted to look at some hollow body and semi-hollow body guitars last Saturday. Sat with him for an hour and a half, and then he didn't buy anything. Said he was going to come back with more money, and then I haven't seen or heard from him since, and that was a week ago tomorrow. So yeah, essentially wasted my time for an hour and a half. But you gotta do what you gotta do to sell stuff. I mean, you gotta show stuff to people, so. But it was kind of a waste of time in the end. She didn't buy anything, and he didn't come back. He hasn't answered any of my emails. So, I don't know. Oh, and then I had another person say they were interested in a guitar of mine. It was brand new. Brand new guitar. What was it? Oh, it was one of my Schecters. Brand new, still has the plastic on the pick guard. Brand freaking new. He emails me back and says he's no longer interested. After I emailed him and I asked him if he was still interested, he emails back and says, I found a better one. It's like, well, how could you find a better one? Mine's brand new. Ask some people. And how are you gonna find it? How are you gonna find what's better than new? I don't get it. What's better than a brand new one? You probably meant to say cheaper. Cheaper doesn't mean better. It just means cheaper. And I had another person that was interested in my 1989 Epiphone Les Paul, rare, only 1 year made, and he said he found a cheaper one. And I emailed him back and I said the same thing. I said, well, I'm glad, but just remember, cheaper doesn't mean better. You get what you pay for. Just like I tell people all the time, if you buy a $1 product, you're going to get dollar results. You buy a $100 product, you're going to get $100 results. You buy a $1,000 product, you're going to get $1,000 results. And I imagine he's probably regretting his sale, because mine doesn't look like it was made in 1989. It looks like it was made 3 weeks ago. So I bought mine from a collector, and it is in just absolutely pristine condition. But whatever, you can't force people to buy. I think I'm going to limit people to playtime on guitars when they come and look at a guitar. I understand people want to come and they want to look and they want to sit down and they want to play it maybe. But to sit there and just strum on a guitar for a half an hour and then in the end not buy it or lowball you, no. Well, my time is money too. I can't just sit there and incessantly sit with somebody who's not, in the end, not going to buy the guitar. I gotta put limits on people's playtime. Just like tire kickers for cars, you know? No tire kickers. Same thing with my guitars from now on, you know? I'll let you sit there and play it for a couple of minutes. But I'm not gonna sit there and let you strum on it and play it for an hour, or a half hour, or 45 minutes. Just, no. If you are any kind of guitar player, you will know within 30 seconds of picking a guitar up and playing it if you like it. That's a given for any long time or medium long time guitar player. You don't have to sit there and just incessantly play it and 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 then go, gee, you know. I mean, I know within 30 seconds of picking a guitar up if it's quality, if it's good. You know, I just know immediately. I don't need to sit there and play it for hours on end. Because the guitar he was strumming on was a brand new, never played by anyone. He was the first one to lay hands on it. It was a Gretsch. It was that orange Gretsch. Brand new. Still has the plastic on the pick guard. And he sat there and he played it for about 25 minutes. I timed him. And he says, yeah, I really like it, but I don't have enough money with it. I'll come back with a little more money. And then never heard from him since. And it's like, oh, goodness, really? So now it's not a new guitar. Now I have to sell the guitar as a played guitar because now somebody's played it. You know, I try and be as honest in my description on guitars as possible. But if you start having too many people play a brand new guitar that you have for sale, if you start having 2 people, 3 people, 5 people come and play on it and then they don't buy it, eventually you're going to have to no longer advertise it as brand new. Because enough people have strummed on it and played it and put, you know, they put strum marks on it, and you know, you can't sell it as new anymore. And it's like, oh, that was an $800 guitar. He wanted to give me $600, and he wanted to give me this Gibson, very low-end Gibson Junior. It was worth maybe $80 as part trade. I mistakenly told him, yeah, I'll give you $100 credit toward the guitar. And he still walks away. He still didn't buy the guitar. You know, he just said, well, I only have $600 with me. Yeah, whatever. You know. So I kind of gonna have to change my my limits, if you will, I guess, to somebody, you know, sitting and playing at a guitar, just like a dealership will do with a car. You know, they'll let you get in a car and take it off the lot and drive it a few miles, but they're not gonna sit there and let you take the car on an hour or 2 hour test drive. You know, they'll let you maybe take it around the block a few times. Maybe if you're real lucky, take it on the freeway once, real quick, real fast, for a mile or 2 or 3. But they're not going to let you drive halfway to Vegas with it or something. You know, it's just like, okay. So when somebody's picking up a $800 guitar of mine, and it's just like, you know, I'm very leery because, you know, it's an $800 guitar. If they put a scratch on it, if they put a mark on it, then I can no longer sell the guitar as brand new or near new. Again, what I put in my description is, on a guitar like that, is I'll say, guitar is new, only played once to set up. And that's generally the truth. But then you post the posting and you start having people come over and you have one person play it and then they don't buy it, and then another person comes and plays it and then they don't buy it, and then 3 and then 4 people. These are the kind of people that are just equivalent to tire kickers on cars. They want what's called a free play. You know, they answer somebody's postings who happen to have a very expensive guitar. They want to come, they just want to play it, and then you never see or hear from them ever again. And it's just like, now they've played your guitar. They may have put scratches in it or a little ding in it from their belt buckle or whatever, and no, so I'm gonna have to put a little, you know, if somebody comes over, I'll just gently tell them, you know, it is a new guitar. I'll let you play it for a couple of minutes, and then I'll just let them know, because if you accidentally put a scratch on it, then I can't sell it as new anymore. You know, I'll give them a little spiel, and I'm sure most people will be pretty compliant with that. Most people will understand that, you know. I should have done it with this guy, but I didn't know he was just going to sit there and incessantly play my guitars all day. Not all day, but he was here for a little over an hour and a half, and he played 6 guitars. 6. In the end, he didn't buy any of them. Not one. Not even the original guitar he came to look at, which was that 1989 Epiphone. He says it's too expensive for an Epiphone. I told him, you know, that's fair market value for this guitar. You know, it's 89. It's considered not ancient, but it is considered vintage. You know, 89, 99, 2009, 2019. It's almost 30 years old. And he was like, oh, it's too expensive for an Epiphone. Well, you should have known that before you told me to bust it out, because I had to take a half an hour and find it and get it out and make sure it was in tune, and all that takes time. If you were just going to say, and I told him all my prices are firm. Firm, 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 firm. I told him 3 times my guitars are firm. Because I'm not making a huge profit on each of these guitars. In a lot of cases, I'm only making 30, 40, 50 bucks. So I am not getting rich off of these guitars. I wish I was, but I am just not. I'm not getting rich. It's not like I'm making $500 on this guitar. I wish, but I'm not. Ultimately, I might make $100 on this guitar. You know? Just one of those things. It's just, yeah. But from now on, I'm going to put a little stipulation when people come and play a guitar, and just, you know, after they've strummed on it for about 2 or 3 minutes, I'll probably just gently say, okay, hey, I'll just say, hey, what do you think? and that'll make them stop playing on it, and
The price of peace, Benjamin.
you know, I think most people will adhere to that. I'm not going to outright tell people, well, I'm going to give you 2 minutes playtime. Your time starts now. Because that's kind of
It's an important step.
not rude, but it's kind of off-putting to do that or say that, I guess. My brother says I probably should do that, but
The tree was signed late this afternoon.
if it comes to that, I'll do that. But I think if somebody sitting on my front porch and they're strumming on the guitar, and I'll say after about 2 minutes or so, I'll just say, hey, okay, hey, what do you think? And if, you know, if you don't know after 2 minutes, then you're probably not going to know after 20 minutes. That's just it, you know. I probably won't care so much if it's a $200 guitar they're strumming on, but if it's a $2,000 guitar, an $800 guitar, or a $700 guitar, or whatever, you know, I'm gonna care a little more, especially if the guitar is new, you know, and I'm advertising the guitar as new, because every minute played on it just makes the guitar that less new. You know, and that's kind of one of my shticks for selling these guitars that I find off of people that are still, you know, again, something that's new, they bought, they played it the first day, decided they didn't like it, or wanted to, you know, I don't know, they just put it aside for whatever reason, and then went past time to return it to the store, so they sold it to me. I buy a lot of guitars like that, a lot. And I do that because, you know, the guitars sell easier that way because it's new. You know, if it's new, it's still got the plastic on the pickguard, it's still got the plastic on the tuners, you know, it's got no strum marks on it, no nothing, it's new. Fresh out of the box. You know, and that helps me sell the guitars. But every time somebody strums on it a little more, it just makes it that less new, and that less new, and that less new. And pretty soon, I can no longer advertise the guitar as new because I've had half a dozen people play it. Usually they haven't bought it because they give me a low ball offer, even though I have firm on my price all over the posting. I tell them wholeheartedly before they show up at my house, the price is firm, the price is firm, the price is firm. Inevitably they make me a cheaper offer. And they either say, well, this is Craigslist, or they say, it's a used guitar. No, it's not used. There are used guitars, and then there are used guitars. You know, if this were 5 years old, this would be a used guitar. But just because I'm cleaning it up and putting a setup on it, doesn't make that as equal to that 5-year-old guitar. And that's what a lot of people try and will make you think, because they want to get it cheaper. And I understand people want a deal. But some people just don't want. Some people don't want a deal, and I've said this before on streams. Some people don't want a deal; they want a killing, or they either want to buy it themselves and resell it and make the profit. And it's like, you know, I understand if somebody offers $20 cheaper than my asking price, or $30, or even $40 maybe. But when somebody starts giving me prices that are hundreds of dollars less than my asking price, like if I have a $700 guitar up and they say they'll give me $200 for it, it's like, no. You don't want it because you want the guitar. You want it because you want to resell it. That's just plain, pure, and simple. I run into that a lot. It's like, I'm pretty good at reading people like that, and it's just like, nah. You don't want it because you want the guitar, you want it because you want to resell it, and you want to be the one to make all the money off of it. So they'll lowball me. I mean, really lowball me. I've had that happen to me many multiples and many times on guitars. I've even had that happen to me with people on $1,000 guitars. I think I said that a minute ago, but I'll reiterate it. You know, I'll have a $1,000 guitar up, and they'll say, "Oh, I'll give you $200 for it." It's like, no. I mean, that's insulting. And I even tell people, I said, you have to know that you're going to get told no on that offer. I mean, you have to. You can't expect somebody to go from $1,000 to $200 and say yes to that offer. This isn't a fire sale. You know? It's like, I've had that happen to me on high-end guitars, where I've had guitars for sale that were $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and then people will call up and say, "Oh, I'll give you $500 for it." And it's like, you're kidding, right? And then they go, "I have it cash." Like, that's a big difference. I have it in cash. It's cash. Really? It's cash? Really? Like, that's going to make a difference. Well, cash? Of course cash. What else? What else is it going to be? I'm not a business. I can't take a credit card.
It seems that way.
Unfortunately, there's nothing you or I can do about it.
So they think that makes all the difference in the world if they say, "I have cash."
It does for me.
Really? Okay. Because my posting says that anyway. I have a line in all of my postings that says the price is firm, cash only, exact change, and pick up in my city. I have that sentence at the bottom of all of my postings. So they can't come back and say, "Well, I didn't know that," unless they didn't read my posting. So I'll be right back. I need to get a fresh cookie and drink, and I'll be right back.
We're here to see Commander Cisco.
Sorry, my orders and no one sees it. But we're here on urgent business.
Well, you'll have to talk to Admiral Lechea. She's in charge here until the Jemadar. I'm afraid you have a loose thread right here. Oh, I'm sorry, but we are pressed for time.
I'll get Cisco.
I hate doing it myself. Run one of my RC cars, crash it, and go, "Well, now it needs." Oh, you know what? All this time, I didn't move the camera. I am sorry, people. I really need to finish setting up my other guitar cameras. I'm sorry. Okay, well, at any rate, time to put some tension back on the strings, and
Well, I guess this means the end of our Starfleet careers. No, I wouldn't worry. No, you misunderstand me, Lieutenant.
oh, what am I doing? I need to put lube.
Time like this, when there's a good
Lube.
about to be killed.
I need to lube my nut. I know that sounds naughty, but
Commander, an unidentified vessel is coming through the wormhole.
I put a little bit of this lube
Star Trek Voyager is next.
on the nut, and it's piano lube,
Part of all Star Trek.
but it works very well.
H&I.
Painting and staining.
You just put it in the groove of the
Too long. Now there's a better solution.
of each string
This is the Wagner
very lightly, because this stuff comes out really fast.
paint and stain. Like this deck, many surfaces need to be protected with regular painting, but that can be time-consuming and a hassle. Well, watch how easy this is with the Wagner Flexio. Now I just aim and pull the
And what that does is it'll keep the nut from
You can use paint right
binding on the string.
I'm able to cover a large area quickly.
So just go like that and get the excess off.
Spindles. This would take forever with the brush. But with
And
I find with a normal brush or
And,
roller,
yeah.
perfect finish. With the Flexio, it looks
very carefully
Wagner makes it easy to improve the appearance of your home.
the strings back in the grooves and kind of give them an initial tighten up.
Now it's your turn to own Wagner's most advanced paint sprayer, the Flexio. You get more control with less mess and results that are 10 times faster than a brush. Call or go online now and receive the complete Wagner Flexio system.
Probably wash my hands after this.
Turbine sprayer and eye spray nozzle for just
But
$43.33. Order in the next 5 minutes and you'll receive 5 free cup liners for even faster cleanup. Plus up to a $20 rebate towards high-quality paints like PPG, Glidden, and Pittsburgh Paints and Stains. Call or go online to order right now.
The reason you should try the Flexio spray is because it works.
it'll do any project you want.
usually when you tune up a guitar, you'll hear these little clicks come from the nut. You'll be tuning it very slowly and you'll hear it go k. Not really a click per se, but kind of just a kind of a click. Click clack, if you will. And here we go. And that's the string getting bound up in the groove. So you can do one of two things. You can put a lube in it, or you can take a very thin line file and just a couple of 2 or 3 strokes in each groove. I don't like to do that. I like to use the lube first. That's just me. That usually works, but I found the piano lube works stellar. It works stellar. Tighten this peg up a little more. And this guitar is going to stay and get in tune and stay in tune. I guarantee it. Guarantee. I need to unwind this one because it's got a wind that's crisscrossed. So this is going to take a little bit of effort on my part. The guy did a pretty good job in putting the strings on the guitar, except for this one little issue, not biggie. He let one of the winds go on top of the eyelet. So, why is... Oh, okay. I like all my winds under each one, and sometimes you have to kind of train it, if you will. Under, it's not, this one's not going under. Oh, there it goes. Did it go under or did it go over? Ah, darn it. Come on, Mark. Okay. Sometimes you have to put a second finger here, but I only have so many fingers, so you have to go about a half a wind and then go like that. Go about a half a wind and then go like that. Until you get all your winds underneath. So you go about a quarter wind actually. Now all the winds should be underneath. And they're not. I don't know why. You don't want to wind and unwind too many times because you'll weaken the string and then break it. So I'm going to do this one more time. And that's going to be it.
Major, the change legs are the Dominion.
Come on, get under.
You're the founders. Ironic, isn't it? The hunted now control the destinies
Yeah,
of
come on,
hundreds of
darn it.
races. Why control anyone? Because what you can control can't hurt you.
Come on now.
So
Cooperate.
we set ourselves the task of imposing order on a chaotic universe. You say what you call imposing order?
I hate to do this because it gets my fingerprints all over the headstock that I just polished, but that's what a rag is for. I can redo it, and now the wind is perfect. Oh. I need to raise up on the bridge a little bit. Ooh, I hate doing that. It's a good thing my screwdrivers are rubberized. I would hate to put a scratch on it. Oh, okay. Now I gotta do this guitar string.
This will all become clear to you once you've taken your place in the Great Link.
I have to unwind this one. Do the same thing. Because there's, looks like two winds that are not correct on this one. I like my winds tight and orderly and on top of each other. It just makes the guitar easier to tune and keep in tune. Now I've gone past that, I can push it under and then start going back the other way. And then make sure this first wind is under the loop. We'll just go about 1/8 of a turn at a time. Push it down, 1/8 of a turn. Push down, 1/8 of a turn. Push down. Whoops, ouch. And see, I just pricked myself with the end. When people cut these strings off, they leave a little tiny, they leave a burr out, and now I'm bleeding. I have to finish this because now I've started it. I mean, I've poked myself so bad I've actually felt it hit the bone. Not this time, but I have in the past. No pain, no gain, right, guys? Oh well. It felt worse pain in my life. So now I got 2 bloody fingers, and I'll be right back.
All Star Trek, Star Trek Voyager, followed by Enterprise, then NYPD Blue. All tonight on H&I. Did you know that a dirty
Grab a tissue.
can make you sick if you knew what could be growing in your mask and hose?
Dang it.
It would keep you up at night. Now so cleaned up.
Yeah, I hit my finger right there.
First and only
When the guy cut the string ends off, he left about 1/4 of an inch of the string hanging out from each one. You don't want to do that. You run your hand across it, you're going to get 7 string pricks in your hand. Cut them flush. Don't leave them out. I'll show you what. Show you guys what I mean in a minute. I gotta. He's bleeding like a sieve right now, so I'm gonna have to raise my hand above my head for a couple of minutes. It doesn't hurt. It's just an annoyance. I've had worse pain in my life than that. So make sure all the strings are in their saddles, and they are. So I'm just gonna have to hold my head above my hand above my head for a few minutes.
Your link to the solids won't last.
and the bleeding will stop out of this tiny hole. See, that string size is what, point? What, point 16 or so? I felt it go in pretty good. It went in clean and came out clean. It didn't go deep, just enough to get past a few layers of top skin and make it bleed. It really doesn't hurt, it's just an annoyance. I'll live.
We will miss you, Odo. You will miss us.
Okay, I'll see if that's good enough. Stop bleeding on me. Okay. Now I have to check. Hopefully that wind is good. And it is, it's perfect. And I hurt myself again the other day on my refrigerator. Had a little burr on the bottom of it. I was dusting underneath and my thumb ran across it and whatever. I can take it. Just an annoyance more than anything. I have to unwind this one because there's, I think, 2, maybe 3 winds. I think it's 2. But yeah, I can see it now. It's 2 that are that are over the string. So you'll hear this click in a second. Maybe you won't. Oop, yeah, there it went. It went doom. Now I can rewind it. Make sure it's under the loop. And by the loop, I mean the first part that goes into the hole of the tuning peg. So again, I'll just keep going an 1/8 of a turn and push down. 1/8 of a turn, push down. Make sure each wind is going under the first one. Being careful not to re-poke myself. And I'll show you what I mean by the string sticking out of the oh! What did I do? I just hit myself again. That one hurt. Ay, ay, ay. Well, I won't be able to say that I don't have my blood, sweat, and tears into this guitar after I'm done with it. Yeah, see, you gotta cut these flush. I'll show you guys what I mean in a minute here. Now I have to sit back down and hold my hand above my head for a few minutes. It stops bleeding. Again, it really doesn't hurt. It was just startling. And it's just a fine. This string gauge is, I think, 9. Is it 9? Yeah, that's a 9. So that one actually kind of startled me more than the first one. So no big deal. Lick my wounds, literally. Okay, it stopped bleeding. Stopped bleeding blood. What movie is that from? Where the actor says, "I'm bleeding my own blood. I'm bleeding blood." I think that movie's Volleyball with Ben Stiller. I'm bleeding blood. Anyway, okay. I'll see if I can bring the camera close so I can show you guys what I mean by the thing sticking out too far, the ends of the strings. He didn't cut them close enough. I might have to let it focus here for a minute, so give me a second. I'll hold it up against my body so it's a little less. Okay, this end right here See how it's sticking out about a 1/4 inch. And this one, and this one, and this one. You need to cut those off with a pair of dikes flush, not sticking out. Because if your hand just runs across a couple of those once, you're going to be hating it. Especially if you're about to play a gig or something and your hands are freaking bleeding all over the place. Nope. No, 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 no. So, a pair of dikes. These are called a pair of dikes. Or wire cutters. Make sure I'm not bleeding anymore. And I just hold the end of it. And I cut the dang thing flush. As flush as humanly possible. As flush as the tool will allow me to. See? Now you have almost nothing to catch yourself on. There's still a little bit there, but not much. I have to unwind this one a little bit so I can get to it. And sometimes I'll take the string and I'll pull it out, pull it a little more, pull it flush. Yeah.
Creative urges, spiritual urges, and physical urges all have a place in a well-lived life. Thank you, Lord Byron.
I have to bring this one all the way around.
Classic or no, he is woefully misguided. Passion is meant for procreation. Anything further is contrary to divine intention.
Really? It has said the angels themselves take pleasure in their bodies of light.
And should take a cold bath. In such cases, it is the finest preventative.
Now keep that in mind.
Hello, Doctor.
Oh, hello, Cass.
Doctor, what's happening in here?
My personality improvement project. I've been interviewing the historical personality program in the database.
Just do each one. You take the end and I just put it over to the side so I can throw it away in a bit.
What are you hoping to gain?
Sometimes I have to take it because the piece has been, the end is bent up a little, so I have to bend it down. This is the one that got me.
I'm sorry, Doctor, but things are going extremely well. The McCall travelers are intriguing. They've been to so many places, done such amazing things.
One might make the same observation about you, Cass.
That one I had to do twice because I didn't get enough of it.
Maybe it's how they do it that's so impressive. Their ships are small, only a pilot and a navigator. Sometimes they just pick a direction and go. You should come down to the planet, Doctor. I want you to meet Zahir.
And who might that be?
I've been working with him on the transport of our medical supplies. He's unique.
Is he? In my opinion, you've become far too infatuated with these travelers. From the away team reports, they seem afflicted with terminal wanderlust. Risk-taking thrill-seekers with no responsibility to the ideals of exploration. In short, bad news.
Not Zahir. He's more than that.
Okay.
I think I'm detecting a reaction to your recent breakup with Mr. Venus. The Mahatma would recommend taking
Okay.
a bath. Simplistic, and not effective.
Okay. No more ends. See, I could run my fingers across the end now and not get caught up on anything. Now, if I would have been stringing this guitar, I might have even put ball end up here and wound the ball end around here. That way you could run your hands across this all day and not get caught on anything because you've got the ball end. By the ball end, I mean this. That's the ball end of the string. You're not going to catch yourself on that if you have it wrapped up around here like that, you know? A lot of people wind their strings like that. I like to wind them that way sometimes. But anyway. Okay, my fingers have stopped bleeding for the most part. Now I can go wash my hands real quick and start polishing the sides and the back. So I'll be right back.
Thing to a man is his reputation. I pick on people my own size. I make a reluctant victim. My word's law. I expect it to be obeyed.
Nobody ever called me a cheat and got away with it. I'm asking you like a gentleman.
Defend your honor at dawn with the good guys at sunrise. Weekdays 5 a.m. or Central. Right here on H&I.
Alright, clean hands, no bleeding anymore. I didn't get any blood on the guitar, so I kept my finger away from it, so it's not like it was bleeding, but it wasn't dripping all over the place or anything by any stretch. Guitar's looking pretty good so far.
There's nothing like a heart that burns. Your pulses. Does that feel good?
Doctor, unless you want me to knock you into the middle of the next millennium, you better back off.
Forgive me, Lieutenant. I appear to have miscalculated. Computer, isolate the recent additions to my program and hold them for review.
Doctor, have you been messing around with your program?
I would hardly call my effort to improve my performance as ship's physician messing around.
What exactly have you done to yourself?
Okay.
I've
The
taken
camera.
character traits from Hollywood
Make sure the neck is
of the most accomplished
tight. I
figures
forgot
in
to do that.
scientists, poets, philosophers, saints.
And incorporated them into your program?
Precisely. There. That should compensate for the lack of enzyme in your system.
This one I gotta be a little more careful with.
How so?
You can't just casually add behavioral subroutines into your program.
There's nothing casual about it. I've put a great deal of research into this project.
Research is one thing. Putting it into practice is something else. Behavioral subroutines have a way of interacting with each other that isn't always predictable. You've got to be careful. Or someone might hurt you.
Okay.
I will take a look at your program when I finish my shift in engineering.
I don't know why I forgot to do these earlier, but I did. Not a big deal. Oh, the back of the
Thank you, Lieutenant.
tuning pegs have little set screws. These are real Grover tuners, 18 to 1. So they are very good.
1,000 years ago.
By whom?
No one knows.
To replace the screwdriver pretty soon. I keep forgetting about that too, along with the battery on that
A few symbols burned into the rocks.
drill.
And what do you hope to leave behind?
I've never asked myself that question. That's what I like about you, Cass. You make me consider alternatives.
I could say the same about you.
We have a saying. My course is as elusive as a shadow across the sky. My people are peripatetic by nature. We live for the excitement of facing the challenge of space alone.
This guitar is made in China, but it's still pretty good quality. I mean, it's not.
I've observed the closeness that exists among your
It's
crewmates.
still got name brand parts and all that stuff. So even though it's made in China,
Might be possible.
it's still pretty good. I mean,
Doesn't that
I
suggest
wish it were made in Korea, like at the Samick factory or the Unsung factory or something, but that's alright. The back of the neck plate has a picture of an eagle and says Washburn Pro, handcrafted since 1883, and then the serial number.
Is this what you brought me
It was a
here to
Washburn Pro.
It is.
Interesting. It doesn't say that on the front.
see? How beautiful.
It says Washburn.
Was this left
USA
by the people
design.
we left 10,000 years ago?
So it seems.
WG
Can
series.
you read it?
But it does not say Pro.
My course
But the back of the neck plate says Washburn Pro. Well, at any rate, it's a nice guitar. I like it. It is pretty darn spiffy. And again, my finger is good. I'm not bleeding anymore. So I will not be mixing any of my blood into this guitar. Bleeding my blood, as Ben Stiller says in the movie Volleyball. Bleeding my own blood. I'm bleeding blood. What else would you be bleeding? Grape juice? Gonna be bleeding some grape juice. So it's pretty nice silver metallic. I like it. It's kind of semi-dark, if you will. Pretty cool. I like it. Pretty nice. Yeah, you know. Oh, I like this chair. This chair is treating me really good so far. I said I was going to get some cookies, and I didn't, but I will in a minute here after I polish this off. There's some interesting, some like permanent, well, I won't say permanent, but there's some difficult spots on the back of the neck to polish. I can see it's somebody's, you know, fingering on there. And some people's hands are very acidic, and they don't wash their hands as much as one should. And they touch a guitar, and their acids get on the guitar and the screws and things like that. And I will have to go over it again a second time, at least on the back plate here. I'll go clockwise, and then counterclockwise, and up and down, side to side, and finish off with counterclockwise. Doing, oh, look at how much more I got off of it just then. Just doing that'll probably do the trick. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, it's done. Definitely. Oh, definitely. Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, my back still hurts even though I got this great chair to sit in now. So I'll put this guitar on its side and do the sides.
Yes, it is.
You have an awaiting report due at 0800 hours.
I haven't forgotten.
And pretty nice metallic silver. Kind of a gunmetal, almost. Almost a gunmetal.
Just finishing up the summary analyses from last week.
Pretty nice. And there is not a ding or a scratch on the body anywhere. It is absolutely factory, pristine, perfect. So that is a plus. Ah, I love the smell of a freshly polished guitar. I love it. Ooh, you know what? There's something else I forgot. Forgot to tighten these screws on the jack.
As your doctor and your mentor, I'd be remiss not calling that to your attention. For your own sake.
Doctor, I know that you care about me and that you have my best interests at heart. But everyone seems to be treating me like I'm still a child. I'm 3 years old now. If I'm attracted to someone, it's my business, not the whole ship.
Ooh, yeah, that is definitely loose. So, need to get the proper sized wrench tighten this up. Ooh, I gotta be real careful because I don't want this. Again, these nuts only have about 2 to 2.5 threads on them. You go too far, and then that's it. You'll strip out the nut and or the jack. I've done it many times myself over the years. I've learned not to do it anymore. It's been difficult to learn not how to do it, but I have.
An all-nighter, Cass? Oh, Captain. I find out of putting off an important task to the very last minute and rushing through it.
Oh,
Just enjoy a minute. Of course. Let's sit down. Now I've been spending time with Sahir.
so the new Han Solo movie came out 25th, was it? Yeah. I'm looking extremely forward to seeing that. I mean, they missed the boat on that. They really should have released that on May the 4th. That would have been the thing to do. Sometimes these movie companies miss the boat on release dates. It's like, it's a Star Wars movie. You should have released it on May the 4th, Star Wars Day. Come on. But anyway, this side is absolutely perfect, pristine.
I've just been thinking that maybe there's more. I don't know what that means, but I know I'm changing, and I know that there are things that I'm not satisfied with. I want complication of my life. And you think Sahir might be the way to do that? Maybe so. I understand what you're going through, Cass. I know what it's like to be at a crossroads in life. Love to know which way is best. I can help you weigh the consequences, the possibilities. The decisions.
Okay. Oh, we're almost done polishing. I want to polish probably up to right about this point right here. Because after here you start to get satin finish, and I don't want to mess with that original factory satin finish. So I am just going to put a very light coat of wax excuse me, on the back of the neck right up to the joint. Because this neck is two-piece. It joins right here. It's cut right here like that. So I'll just put a very light coating. Because again, the neck is still new. The guitar is still new.
Yes, and that acquisitive. They'll remove your entire crew, settle you on a moon somewhere. Your ship will become a
It's not dirty at all from somebody's hands or anything. So that's good. That's it. That's as much as I'm going to polish on it, if you will, or wax on it. Oh yeah. That's nice. I'll still rub on this and clean it up a little bit. I'll clean the, I'll polish on the tuners. I'll set these all level so I can
Aren't you finished yet?
just kind of do this to them, you know?
We will continue tomorrow.
Thank you, Tuvok.
And go wee, 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 wee. And do the other side of them.
She said I shouldn't rush a decision. We've still got 2 more days here.
Then let's make them worthwhile. I go tonight for the next outpost.
I can just kind of do the tops of
I can't. So tonight I have to catch up on my work and get some sleep.
I'll try not to let you see
do the sides rather.
Late.
So these are too close together for me to get my fingers in there, so I got my little handy dandy tool that I just go like this.
I'm now coming to a crossroads. Maybe someday we'll recall
I just run it over about 3, 4, 5 times. And then this side of it. Again, it's new, so I just not like it's overly dirty or anything. Just need to kind of Put a coat of wax on it, if you will. That's pretty much it. We're making pretty good time on this guitar. I started, what, 9:30? Ran into a couple issues. One was a little injury, my finger. Other than that, I probably would have been, if that hadn't happened, I probably would have finished this guitar already. But that's alright. I'm not in a flaming rush to get this done. I want to do a good job, as always. And most guitar luthiers and guitar stores and whatnot wouldn't even do this. They really wouldn't. They wouldn't go to this detail. They'd just be like, they might run a rag across it or something just to say they cleaned it. But other than that, they wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. This attention to detail. They just wouldn't. That's plain, pure, and simple. So, okay. That's it for the cleaning aspect of this guitar. Ooh, I take it back. I forgot the knobs. And I can only do the top because the sides are knurled. So, and there's no numbers on these, so you can put these in any position. If these had a 1 through 10 on them, I'd set the pots to their maximum and put the 10 facing up. But since these don't have any number markers on them, they can go in any position. Any position is fine for these. Alright, now we had a slight problem with this pot, and that problem is gone. It was kind of squeaking a little bit, and it is good to go. Both pots are nice and smooth now. Oh, now, take a little break for a second here. And I can put a general tune on it, and then adjust the string height and the pickup height, and then do the intonation, and put a final tune on it, and then that'll be it for this guitar. We've been streaming for 2 hours. I can get that done in about the next half hour. So, with that being said, we'll get started on doing that. Plug this bad boy in and get started on the setup aspect. Oh, my back does hurt. Okay, that's a full general tune. Oh, see if that buzz is still there. Still there a tiny bit, but not too bad. I'm gonna have to pick the guitar up now and well, no, I don't need to pick it up yet. Checking the string height now, action height. Pretty good. I can go a little lower on this end. Maybe one turn. I'm almost right on it. I'm pretty good at eyeballing this stuff before testing it, so I'm pretty good at that. Go. Yeah, pretty good. Okay, I think the string height is pretty good. Studio pickup height. Usually do that last, but I'll do that now. like my pickup height pretty high. Pretty much at maximum, because that'll give you maximum sound. Of course, if somebody wants it lower, I am more than happy to lower the pickup height for them. Hear that? Hear some a little more aggressive, a little louder. Pretty good. Okay, so we got the pickup height, the string height. Now we need to check the intonation. Pretty close. Not exact, pretty close. My flash drive. I mean, my flash drive. My flashlight, rather. Flash drive. I don't know why I said flash drive, but I did. Perfect intonation. Whoops. You don't want to touch any of the other strings while intonating because it'll throw off your ear, if you will. I pretty much do this by ear. I've gotten very good at doing that over the years. Sometimes I'll use my tuner if there's a lot of ambient sound, you know, cars driving by, noise of the day outside, things of that nature. I am using a tuner as a secondary right now because there's my brother's listening to his TV right now, so that's kind of interfering a little bit with my tunability. Not bad, just perfect already. Oops, I didn't change the camera view. Sorry, guys. Darn it, I keep forgetting to do that. I don't have my other cameras hooked up right now, so I do apologize for that. I do apologize for that. But that intonation is pretty perfect right now. That's pretty close. Again, I can tell by ear that's pretty close to where I want it. Pretty close, pretty close. I need the batteries in the flashlight, dang it. Good. It's a little low. A little low, not too bad. We'll see how that is. A little high still. I'm using a flashlight because it's, you know, the hardware is black, so it's a little hard to see. My battery's low on the computer, so I'm gonna have to finish this up pretty quick. I'm almost done, actually. That one's off a little tiny bit, but not too bad. I need to loosen this one rather than tighten it. Nope, I was wrong. I need to tighten it up. Not loosen it. Ah, come on. There we go. I'm almost done. Perfect. A little high. Oop, went a little too far, actually. Imagine that. It's pretty rare that I go too far in the adjustment, but it does happen. I'm only human after all. Whoops. Perfect. Listen to that. Perfect. yes, I do know how to play slide guitar. Okay, everyone, I'm calling this guitar done. It is done. Perfectly intonated, perfectly tuned, set up, polished, waxed, adjusted. That buzz is gone that was there earlier. It wasn't real bad, as you heard, but it was there. So that's it. This guitar is done. It is finito. So there we have it, a Washburn WG-587 Pro in metallic semi-dark silver, 7-string. You heard it, it sounds pretty darn good afterward. Tuning issue gone, perfectly intonated, perfectly tuned, and there we have it, as it were. Should be able to get about 400, between 400 and 450 for this guitar now. Very nice. So I'm gonna close this video because the battery on my laptop is about to expire.
And again, thank you for tuning in to this classic guitar video of this Washburn WG-587 7-string electric guitar in metallic silver. Tomorrow night, I don't quite know what I'm going to have yet. Maybe that other Washburn I got from my friend, or maybe his the other one that I purchased from him, that Jackson. Probably the Jackson, actually. Yeah. So